Hi, I'm Shannon Schmidt, and welcome to Capital City Sports. For the latest, in-depth sports coverage on local, national, and Gamecock sports, tune into the show every Thursday at 8 p.m., only on SGTV. This week on Capital City Sports, Steve Spurrier and the Gamecock football team travel to Gainesville to take on Florida, a team he brought to national prominence. In an instant classic, could the Gamecocks finally break through and get a big win? A shakeup in college football has fans wondering who will play in the national championship. We'll tell you who benefits most from another wild and crazy Saturday. The USC men's hoop team has tipped it off Friday against South Carolina State. We'll go behind the scenes and tell you what the coaches and players think of the new season. And finally, we'll preview this weekend's football tilt with Middle Tennessee State. Can the Gamecocks get that elusive 6th win and become bowl eligible? For all this and more, stay tuned to Capital City Sports, your source for sports at USC.
This is the kind of immaturity and unprofessionalism that was associated with SGTV years ago. And it's not going to happen again. I will take away keys. Okay, this is not funny.
Hey, Drew.
Why are you smiling? This is not funny. This is a waste of student television fees.
We paid for it.
Out of your own money, you paid for this.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, what about the air?
The air?
Yes, the air that costs money. I was away doing a good TV show, and you guys come in here and f*** up my office. If it's not cleaned up by 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to come back and take pictures, and there's going to be hell to pay.
Did you get all that? Every second. Good.
I wasn't mad. Come on, guys. I was pretending to be mad.
See you on VH1, asshole.
Come on, guys. Oh, f*** me.
Welcome back to Capital City Sports. Last season, the Gamecocks shocked the visiting Florida Gators as Coach Steve Spurrier and company defeated the 15th ranked Gators 30-22. But this year, Carolina would have to beat Florida in the Swamp, where Coach Spurrier has made a name for himself. With more from the game, here's Jonathan Hilliard.
Thanks, Shannon. The Gamecocks are coming off back-to-back heartbreaking losses to Tennessee and Arkansas. Could they turn it around this weekend at Florida? Let's go down to Gainesville for some highlights. Steve Spurrier making his return trip to Gainesville, where he won a national championship, and the Gator fans, they're not real pleased with him right now, to say the least. Blake Mitchell, Steve Spurrier's new quarterback, getting ready for his second game back as the starting quarterback. But in the first quarter, it's Chris Leak, Florida quarterback, avoiding the safety. He hits Dallas Baker, moving the Gators down the field. Gators moving the ball early. Chris Leak finds Andre Caldwell down the sideline. He gets down to close to the 20. Gators are in business early. But here's Chris Leak. He's looking for the end zone again for Dallas Baker and Fred Bennett. He's got the missed opportunity for the Gamecocks, and the Gators get another chance, but they would miss the field goal. 0-0. Blake Mitchell takes advantage of that missed opportunity, hits Sidney Rice. Blake Mitchell, broken record, hits Sidney Rice, and what? He's going down the sideline, showing off some moves. Sidney Rice is there. First and goal for the Gamecocks at the 4-yard line, and let's play some power football. Mike Davis up the middle. He is a one-man wrecking crew in this game. Finished with 95 yards on the day. Gamecocks take the early lead at 7-0. Gamecocks with a chance to go up 2 possessions now. Ryan Suckup right down the heart, 55-yarder. It is good. Gamecocks go up 10-0, but wait a second. Delay of game on the Gamecocks brings the field goal back. Coach Spurrier not real pleased with that. Still 7-0. Late in the first half, Chris Leak looking deep for Dallas Baker. Fred Bennett's got a beat on it. Oh! Dallas Baker touchdown, Gators, and it's tied at 7-7. We move to the third quarter now. Gators. Fred Bennett a little disgusted with himself, by the way. Third quarter, Gators moving the ball again. This time, Percy Harvin down the sideline. Yeah, he's quick. He's got some room out to the 50-yard line. Tim Tebow on 4th and 1 converts for the Gators. That's a reoccurring theme in this game. But next play, Chris Leak picked off by Stoney Woodson. The Gamecock defense bends but doesn't break again. Stoney returns it out to the 35-yard line, but a penalty would bring it back. Gamecocks start inside their own 20. Blake Mitchell up to the challenge. He's looking. Oh, it's Savell Newton. No, that is Blake Mitchell. Making plays with his feet, finds Andy Boyd downfield. Andy Boyd has 48 yards on the completion. By the way, he's coming back for a 6th year next year. Gamecocks in Gator territory in business. Ryan Suckup, and the field goal is blocked. Keep that in mind. That's a reoccurring theme in this game, ladies and gentlemen. Gamecocks cannot take the lead. It's still 7-7. Look again. The protection of the line breaks down, and the Gators get in and block the field goal. Coach, yeah, he's not real pleased with that. But Gamecocks stop and get the ball back. This time they're going to the ground game. Corey Boyd, 8 yards. Mike Davis, anything you can do, I can do better. 9 yards for the sophomore running back. Gamecocks in business. Ryan Suckup again. This time drilled. Ryan Suckup is money. Right down the middle. Gamecocks take a 10-7 lead. Yeah, he's good. But Florida Gators coming right back. It's Percy Harvin again. He gets the crossing route going down the sideline. Yeah, he's fast. Down to the Gamecock 6-yard line. Now it's Tim Tebow. We know he can run, but can he throw the ball? Oh, man, just over the head of Billy Latchko, and the Gators have to settle for a field goal. 10-10 ball game, but Blake Mitchell right back for the Gamecocks. Sidney Rice, gain of 14 yards. Blake again, he was fantastic on the night. He hits Kenny McKinley with a beautiful over-the-shoulder pass. Mitchell was 23 of 34 for 275 yards on the day. Mike Davis, mama must be calling it because he's taking it to the house. Gamecocks go up 16-10, and they're on top of another top 10 opponent in the fourth quarter. Would this be the day they could hold on and finally get that big win? Coach Spurrier, he's feeling pretty good about it right now, but extra point is blocked. That's a huge play. Jarvis Moss in on the block for the Gators. Remember that name, because again, Jarvis Moss is a name that you will hear later in this game. The 6'6" defensive end was all over the field on Saturday night. Now we go back to the Gators. Could they march right back down? Tim Tebow, 4th and 1, picks up the first down for the Gators. He's a little excited, you could say. Gators moving the ball down the field. Now it's Chris Leak, finds Percy Harvin again. What? He's off to the races down the sideline in Gamecock territory. Now Chris Leak. Timmy who? Chris Leak with a 12-yard run and the first down. The Gators are in business, looking for the go-ahead score. Now it's Chris Leak. He's looking for the end zone for Andre Caldwell, and Savell Newton can't hold on to the ball. That's a pick that probably would have sealed it up for the Gamecocks, but we'll never know. Let's take a look at it again. Chris Leak looking for Andre Caldwell. Newton cuts in front and right through the fingertips of this former quarterback playing safety for the first time ever. Anyways, missed opportunity for the Gamecocks. Gives the Gators another chance. It's Timmy Tebow. He is rumbling, bumbling, and stumbling into the end zone for the Gators. Touchdown. The Gators would take the lead 17-16, but the Gamecocks aren't done. Blake Mitchell looking, using his feet again. Blake Mitchell finds Mike Davis in Gator territory. The Gamecocks have something going here. First set, 3rd down and 6. Gamecocks at the 44. Hits Freddie Brown for a first down there in field goal range. But why settle for the field goal when you can pump fake? Hit Sidney Rice deep at the 10-yard line. The Gamecocks are in business, but wait a second. That's right, another penalty. It's a false start. Jamon Meredith moving. You can see the reaction on both coaches' faces. Urban Meyer relieved. So the Gamecocks are forced to settle for a 48-yard field goal. Coach Spurrier, a little nervous I'd say. Ryan Suckup has the game in his hands at this point. Ryan Suckup with a season long of 55 yards. We know he's got the leg, and the biggest kick in this young man's career so far. The snap, the hold, and it is blocked. Jarvis Moss on the block again, and the Gamecocks' hopes are dashed in the waning seconds of this game. Florida would go on to win 17-16. The Gamecocks still can't quite get over the hump.
A lot of guys competed, really proud of the way so many of our players competed. And you know who they were. I don't have to pick them out and so forth. But man, we had some guys who played like winners tonight. Mike Davis, a bunch of those linemen, Sidney, Kenny, Freddie Brown, Blake. I can go on and on. So many guys really up front. We had some good holes to run through. So it's unfortunate that we all have to be loser tonight. But you know, it's football's team sport.
Well, you're sitting there hoping that we can get that field goal, and it was just unfortunate that the guy got up there and made a play. I mean, he got a hand on it, and that was it.
Coming up next on Capital City Sports, analysts Tom Benning and Matt Moore will recap the weekend in college football and tell us what to expect as the season winds down. That's next on Capital City Sports.
Hi everybody, I'm Drew Zalitas, and are you sick of all these dull, rusty knives?
Yeah!
And are you sick of these crazy kitchen utensils no one can figure out how to use?
Yeah!
And are you sick of the muck and the grime sticking all over your cookie sheets?
Yeah!
Well then, do I have a product for you. It's the all-new Your Show on SGTV. Every Tuesday at 8:30, we put brand new films made by students right here on USC onto TV for all of you to watch. Now, is that going to knock the crap out or what? Yeah! All new Your Show every Tuesday at 8:30.
Yeah!
As we wind down the regular season, it's all becoming clear. Or is it? What we do know is that Ohio State will host Michigan this weekend in a battle of undefeateds. The winner will lock up a spot in the BCS National Championship. But with 3 top teams falling this week, who will the OSU-Michigan winner match up against? Smelling like a rose this week is the Southern Cal Trojans, who jumped to number 3 in the latest BCS poll. With showdowns remaining with Cal and Notre Dame, winning out should be enough to get the Trojans back to Tempe to play for a championship. But what about those Fighting Irish from Notre Dame? Since being blown out by Michigan, the Irish have rolled through their competition and put themselves in good position. A win over USC and Charlie Weis could be national championship bound in just his 2nd season. But let's not leave out the toughest conference in football. Arkansas, since losing to USC the very first game of the season, has looked very tough. Led by Darren McFadden, the Hogs have rolled through a tough SEC schedule and now have big wins over Auburn and Tennessee. If the Razorbacks defeat LSU and can overtake Florida in the SEC Championship, who's to say they don't have a claim to that elusive number 2 spot? And then there's the Florida Gators. After hanging on to defeat South Carolina, Arkansas looks to be Florida's biggest test of the season. But a drop in the BCS has the Gators looking for help. Urban Meyer and company may need some help from the Cal Golden Bears this weekend in order to jump back in front of USC and back into the national title picture. Or could it all come back to Ohio State and Michigan? The BCS computer polls love the dueling Big Ten undefeateds and aren't likely to stop loving them if we see an instant classic on Saturday. Should the upstart Wolverines upset the longtime #1 Buckeyes, we could see a rematch in Arizona, only this time for all the marbles. With 3 weeks left, the only thing certain is that nothing is for certain. And then again, that's why they play the games. Jonathan Hilliard, Capital City Sports.
With just 3 weeks left, college football is winding down the regular season. 3 top 10 teams tumbled last week, making the BCS a little more interesting. For more college football analysis, here's the Capital City Sports Talk guys, Matt Moore and Tom Benning.
Well, Dave, I guess we're just going to jump right into Carolina football.
All right.
I'm assuming you went down to Florida this weekend?
Yes, sir. I was there.
All right, well, just give us your thoughts about the game. Obviously a devastating loss for the Gamecocks, but what did you get out of it?
Well, actually, I'm still kind of trying to figure out how USC exactly lost that game. But no, on a serious note, it was just another one of those days where USC did pretty much everything it had to do to win, and just ball didn't bounce their way. They couldn't get it going. But if they can showcase the kind of effort that they showed against the Gators in these next 2 games, I have no doubt that they could win those 2 games, be 7-5, and go to a pretty decent bowl game.
Well, what do you have to say? I mean, Blake again performed pretty well. Have you ever seen anything like this where a player's been benched and then come back and kind of been a hero of sorts?
I really haven't. I guess there's always the feel-good story of guys who get their second chances, but usually there's a warm-up period involved. The past 6 quarters, Blake Mitchell has just been unbelievable. And I know I'm not the only one who has said, where was this during the first 2 games of the season when Blake was the starter? Past 6 quarters, he has just played extremely well. And it's like Coach Spurrier said today, this was the kind of performance he was talking about when he said that Mitchell might be an all-SEC quarterback one day.
Well, did you just kind of go into the very end of the game? I know there was discussion in our dorm room that we could kind of see it coming. Did you seriously think that, Suckup was going to hit it from 50 yards out? And really, what did you think about Spurrier's time management there at the end of the game?
Well, I guess I could preface it by saying when USC scored the go-ahead touchdown, when Mike Davis ran it in and Suckup's extra point was blocked.
Right.
I said right then to the press box, whoever was around me, I said, I'm telling you what's going to happen. Florida's going to march right down and score.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Obviously that happened. Now, I didn't think that Florida would leave that much time on the clock.
Right.
But so when USC started driving, I got down to the field as quick as I could and thought, if they could just get within, 45, 50 yards, field goal range, Suckup has hit that before, they could win the game.
Right.
So I was not surprised that Florida went ahead after that blocked PAT. I was surprised that USC drove right down the field. As for your other question with Spurrier's time management, I thought it was very good. The worst thing that happened on that drive was that false start penalty that wiped out a first down inside the 7.
Mm-hmm.
As I was saying to a lot of my friends, they keep that first down, then you have 7 yards for a touchdown, 22 seconds to go, 2 timeouts. Which,
right.
If you give that to a guy like Steve Spurrier, it's like playing Russian roulette with 5 bullets.
Right.
Not a good situation.
Not a good situation. But, there was the false start. They got backed up 5, and they eventually had to go for it from 47.
On the touchdown drive where Mike Davis scored the one that gave the Gamecocks 16 points,
Mm-hmm.
Gary Danielson, the color guy for CBS, said it was the best called drive he has ever seen in college football. It was a good drive, but was it that good?
Well, it was impressive just because of seeing the personnel that USC was doing it with. I don't know if I could call it the best drive I've ever seen in college football, but I will say it was very impressive because Spurrier stuck with the game plan. He didn't try to abandon what had worked so well all the game. He just kept it, in the middle of the field, screen passes, short slants, running when you had to, and it was a good drive, and obviously Mike Davis finished it off with a very good run for a touchdown.
Right, and I mean, I actually just did a little report for the Palestra or whatever, and we were just talking about Tim Tebow, and do you, just for Florida's sake, do you think Tebow is a good thing for this team this year, or should Leak be playing the whole time? Just kind of looking at the national scheme, now that they're looking at a national championship possibly. What do you think about Tim Tebow?
Well, I think Tim Tebow is a tremendously talented freshman. I don't believe that he is the second coming of Joe Montana just yet, as a lot of folks have made him out to be. He's a big physical guy, and obviously he can run the football very well, but his throwing needs a little bit of work. I do remember on the last drive before they scored, he was flushed out of the pocket by Jasper Brinkley, and he had his fullback wide open going to the corner of the end zone and just overthrew him.
Right.
And, I mean, I think the kid will be good, but right now you need to stick with a guy, Chris Leak, who's thrown for over, 5,000, 6,000 yards in his college career, and he's always been there. He's improved on his running, and he's the guy that's getting 75% of the snaps. And, Florida's won 9 games now, and Leak's been a major part of all of them.
Thanks, Matt and Tom. Well, it's getting late in the season, and that means that games now mean more than ever. Let's take a look at the slate of the games for this week. For SEC football, we've got Western Carolina taking on Florida at 12 p.m. We've got Middle Tennessee State at South Carolina at 12:30. Arkansas at Mississippi State 2:30. Mississippi is taking on LSU at 8 p.m. Tennessee taking on Vanderbilt at 12:30. Louisiana Monroe at Kentucky at 1 p.m. and Auburn versus Alabama at 3:34. For ACC football, we've got Maryland taking on Boston College at 12 p.m. Next, we've got Miami at Virginia at 12 p.m. We've got Western Michigan at Florida at 2 p.m., North Carolina State at North Carolina at 12 p.m., and Duke at Georgia Tech at 1:30. Finally, we've got Virginia Tech at Wake Forest at 7 p.m. Coming up next, we'll go one-on-one with Gamecock basketball coach Dave Odom and some of the stars of the team. All that and more coming up on Capital City Sports. Stay tuned.
This is the kind of immaturity and unprofessionalism that was associated with SGTV years ago. And it's not going to happen again. I will take away keys. Okay, this is not funny.
Hey, Drew.
Why are you smiling? This is not funny. This is a waste of student television fees.
We paid for it.
Out of your own money, you paid for this.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, what about the air?
The air?
Yes, the air that costs money. I was away doing a good TV show, and you guys come in here and f*** up my office. If it's not cleaned up by 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to come back and take pictures, and there's going to be hell to pay.
Did you get all that? Every second. Good.
I wasn't mad. Come on, guys. I was pretending to be mad.
See you on VH1, asshole.
Come on, guys. Oh, f*** me.
Our team has the chance to be a very good basketball team, one that is capable of making the national tournament. Make no mistake, it is also a team that is capable of winning the SEC championship.
Last season, the Gamecock men's basketball team fell just short of winning the SEC and landing a spot in the NCAA tournament. This season, Coach Dave Odom and his squad are hungry to finish what they've started. Jonathan Hilliard sat down with Coach Odom and some of the stars from the basketball team to talk about the brand new season.
Here with Gamecock men's basketball head coach Dave Odom. Coach, thanks for joining us, first of all.
You're very welcome. Very glad to be here.
Coach, just talk about, can you tell the guys are starting to get excited, a little anxious to get cranking here?
Well, I really can. October the 15th typically has been the kind of the tip-off. The curtain kind of rises on basketball season. This year's a little bit sooner, but we always enjoy the beginning of basketball season. Your team begins to take shape, and the personalities of the new players, you begin to enjoy them, get to know them a little bit, and seeing your team play together. And I always enjoy the veterans, seeing how much improvement they've made from a year hence, when I look at a guy like Trey Kelly or Brandon Wallace, I say there's a lot to get excited about for this year's team. And you take a look at a new guy like Dominique Archie, and who redshirted last year, and Dwayne Day, who I think is much improved, and Brandon Wallace and Brandis Rayleigh, new player, and Bryce Sheldon. There's a lot of good talent there, and a lot of good young players that I think together have a chance to have a very successful season.
Coach, you already mentioned him. Talk about when people think about Gamecock basketball this year, they look no farther to start with than Trey Kelly. You've obviously been very impressed with Trey. Just talk about what you think he can bring as a senior to this team.
Well, one of the fun things about coaching, as many years as I have, is you appreciate more than just the game. And Trey brings so much to the table, or to our team in this case. He is a great young man. He's a hard worker. He's a great leader. But on top of that, he's a growing and proven basketball player. I mean, he's not afraid. I've often said that one of the great attributes that any player can have is a lack of fear, and he's a fearless kind of player. So highly skilled, can score, defend. I mean, he's complete.
Obviously, basketball is a team sport, and while you've got Trey Kelly and Brandon Wallace as some guys that have proven themselves on the court, how do you think they are gelling as far as, coming together as a team so far?
I think doing nicely at this stage. We've got a lot of work to do in that area and other areas, but I think Brandon and Trey are smart enough to know that they're confident in their own abilities, but by the same token, they know they need the help of their teammates. And I continue to encourage them to seek help from their teammates, to allow their teammates to help them. But at the same time, I say to their teammates, the younger guys in particular, look at these older guys. Look at Brandon. Look at Trey. Do what they do. Do it the way they do it. That's the correct way. That's the winning way.
Coach, good luck this season.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we're here with junior guard, forward. Looks like you're going to do a little bit of it all. Dwayne Day.
Yeah.
Dwayne, thanks for joining us, first of all. But, you getting excited here?
Yeah, I'm very motivated. I'm happy and ready for the season to get started. The team is coming together. We're just real excited right now.
Coach Odom talked about you at length in his press conference, said that you really kind of turned it on as far as, where the summer goes, and now up until this point where you guys are getting ready to start practicing. What was it, just like a light that flipped off in your head? It's like, all right, now it's my turn?
Me and Coach had a conversation. We taught it, and he just basically told me, Dave, you just got to step it up. He told me we lost some key guys last year, and he's just going to need me to step up and give some offense and a little defense. So right now, I just trying to motivate myself. I am motivated just to come in, just to work hard every day in practice, and hopefully carry over to a game.
Dwayne, the last time you guys lost, it was to the national champions by 2 points in Atlanta in the SEC championship. Is that kind of a bitter taste in your mouth after you see those guys go on in the NCAA tournament and just roll through the tournament?
Yeah, it's really an eye-opener. You be like, man, it could have been us, So everything happens for a reason, man. We of course, we won the NIT 2 years in a row, and this year we're just trying to come out and get high goals.
Dwayne, last year you had a stretch where you started some. You got some good playing time. Do you feel like right now you're completely up to speed and you're ready to go compete as a starter in the SEC?
I'm ready. I'm ready and more willing than I'll ever be. I've conditioned very well, so I'm ready for the minutes. I'm ready to play the 1 through the 4, whatever it takes, so our guys can win some games.
All right, what's Dwayne Day's prediction for the Gamecocks this year? Where are you guys going to end up?
Man, hopefully we can be in the SEC right now and the national tournament and try to get a ring. The NIT has been all well and fun, but it's time to move on, get bigger and bigger things right now.
You heard it here, guys. Dwayne Day.
Yeah.
Gamecocks going to the show.
Okay. Take it easy, my man.
Brandon Wallace. Brandon, you getting excited here?
Yeah, I just can't wait to tip it off Saturday morning.
You talked about Saturday morning. You guys will start practice, and you kind of been working out all throughout the summer. What's changed with Brandon Wallace from the time that you guys won the NIT last year to right now?
I think offensively I became more aggressive, looking for my shot more, just trying to be an all-around player.
Brandon, I talked to you last week, and we mentioned you're a senior now, man. It's gone by quick. What do you have to do differently as far as just being a senior on this ball club, and kind of you have to take people under your wing? What's your role in this team?
In the past, it's just been more of being a team player, but now I have to be vocal. Whereas in the past I kind of had to just sit back and follow someone else's lead. Now it's my turn to set an example for the younger guys.
Is that something that you're comfortable with? I mean, do you take pride in getting on somebody if they aren't getting enough effort or anything?
Yeah, I've done it before in high school. I won a state championship my senior year, so I'm pretty familiar with the senior leadership role.
All right, Brandon, you guys finished off the season winning your second NIT. You played well in the tournament. Trey played well in the tournament. You guys lose Ronaldo, but does that transfer into the beginning of the season with all the new guys? Does that NIT championship, give you guys even more momentum coming into the season?
I think it goes to show you that we can win on this level. We want to convey that to the younger guys who are coming in, that they're coming to a winning program, and that if we make the NIT, we don't want to make the NIT anymore. We want to raise the level here at South Carolina to the NCAA tournament on a consistent basis. So we're just trying to be in hard, we had hard workouts the whole summer, so we're hoping we're getting the message through that this is a winning program.
All right, Brandon, the last time you guys lost, it was by 2 points to the national champion. Is that a tough pill to swallow over the offseason? That, the last time you guys got beat, you almost beat the national champions.
Yeah, after they won the national championship, I was kind of hurt for about a week. But, it's just the way the ball bounced sometimes. Who knows if we would have won that game, it could have been us winning the national championship. But hopefully we're just going to take care of business early this year. Play like we played during the postseason. I think we should be fine.
At the same time, is that bragging rights, though? You guys can say that you beat the national champions twice last year.
I don't think so, because they won the national championship, we won the NIT, and so I think it's a big difference. But, it just lets you know you can play at the highest level.
All right, Brandon, we talked a little bit about it last week, what your ideas for the season are. What's Brandon Wallace's prediction for where the Gamecocks going to be at the end of the year?
NCAA tournament or bust. I think we can make it this year.
Brandon? Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
We're here with redshirt freshman forward Dominique Archie. Dominique, how you doing?
I'm doing well, great.
All right, I know I've talked to you before about this, but just talk about how excited you are to get out there on the floor.
Very excited. Said all last year. I wanted to play last year, but it just wasn't my time, so I had to just wait.
Coach said that you walked up to him earlier and said for the first time that, Coach, I'm glad I redshirted. What kind of changed in your mind there that made you realize that?
Last year I was a little immature. I kind of used my redshirt year to grow and learn. I had a lot of people to learn from, like Torrance and Ronaldo, taught me a lot of things on and off the court.
Is it kind of your job to take over where Ronaldo left off this year, as far as rebounds and points and just bringing that tenacity to the Gamecocks this year?
Well, I guess it's going to be my job, but as a team, everybody has to contribute into that.
So what's Dominique Archie's prediction for the Gamecocks? Where are you guys going to finish this year?
Finish in the SEC or
overall, where are you going to be at the end of the season?
Number one.
Number one?
Yeah.
NCAA tournament?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, who's the big surprise on this team as far as your standpoint? Who has made the biggest impact so far that you didn't necessarily think would?
I would have to say Bryce Sheldon, because he's kind of like trying to act up to his game bit by bit. He's trying to dribble more and trying to get into the lane and create a little bit more.
All right. A lot of people, a lot of fans don't know what to expect from Dominique Archie yet. Are you going to come out the first couple of games, try to put on a show for him, get everybody excited?
I'm going to do what I can. I'm not going to go out of my way, but if the opportunity is there, I'm going to take the opportunity.
All right, guys. That's Dominique Archie. Dominique, I appreciate it.
Now for more analysis on this year's basketball squad, let's go to Matt Moore and Tom Benning.
Well, speaking of NITs.
Three-peat.
I'm feeling good about
three-peat. Yes.
Because what night was it? It's Friday night.
Yes.
South Carolina State. They're the Bulldogs, right?
Yes, we came from behind.
Bulldogs. Leading by 7 with 9 minutes left, something like that. 6 with 9 minutes left. Carolina come from behind, 55-52 victory. Should we not look too far into that and say first game, just getting everything kind of cleared out of the system, or does that have extreme significance on the rest of the season? Tom, you're not even listening.
Well, because the sun just entered the room. So kind of caught my attention. But I think this is definitely something to be concerned about.
It's a devastating.
It's not devastating. I mean, they won the game.
That's true.
Most people looking, I mean, when they look at South Carolina's portfolio or whatever, when it comes time to look, if they're even close to getting a tournament bid or whatever, I mean, this will be a factor, but I don't think it's going to be a big factor. They lose the game, and it's probably
the end of the season.
It could have been. I mean, I don't know. I just don't understand. I mean, how bad did Clemson beat the team they were playing? Wasn't
they
by
beat
like 50
Arkansas
points?
State 84-48, I think, something like that. It was bad. It was close to 40 points.
I mean, the point of these games is to blow the team out.
Yeah, last week I kind of railed on South Carolina's non-conference schedule and how bad it was. If you're going to have a bad non-conference schedule, you still have to look good in the games. Like, that's the point of scheduling bad teams. And I think Clemson figured that out. They beat Old Dominion by 4, but Old Dominion had 22 wins last year. Like, Old Dominion was in the Final Four of the NIT. They were one of the teams that was on the bubble, kind of like South Carolina. So, I mean, they still won the game. So I guess that's what South Carolina can say. We won the game, headed out to California now, play UC Irvine tonight.
Yeah, I think we got to give them a few more games before it's all crisis mode or whatever.
And so many guys that were playing, even down the stretch, were just young freshmen. Archie's a redshirt freshman. I mean, they're going to have their first game ever in college, you know. They didn't have any exhibition games to get ready, so.
Yeah, but it's going to have to happen at some point, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, the dynamic of the team is youth. And that's how it's going to have to be. So I guess get them in there at some time and have them ready to play in the SEC. But because you got Kansas right before SEC starts, so basically Kansas is going to be the beginning of this season, in my opinion. I mean, you got actually Lenardi I saw has Lipscomb in the tournament at this point. So they're as the winner from their division. Apparently they have a big rivalry with Belmont.
Yeah.
So, out in Tennessee.
Big Belmont-Lipscomb rivalry.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of the Belmont-Lipscomb clash.
Crosstown rivalry in Nashville.
Yeah, it gets rough there.
Well,
I think the winner probably gets like a guitar or something like that.
Guitar Hero?
Is it a
could
real
that
guitar,
be the name of the rivalry game?
Riley, any
Guitar
thoughts on
Hero
Carolina
champion.
so far?
I don't think you can judge the opening game on something like this. I mean, I think SC State's in the right direction from what we saw. Like when I was in high school, like my junior year, I think they were in the tournament, and they've been okay since then. They've been in contention for the MEAC, but haven't done anything big. But you guys were talking last week about why don't we play Winthrop? We have played Winthrop before, and the thing is that you talk about, well, why don't you play Winthrop? Well, every time we play Winthrop, we seem to kind of beat them by 10, 15 points. So if you're going to play a quality team that's supposedly one of these up-and-coming programs with Greg Marshall and everything, you know, that's just it's questionable at best. You know, maybe this year if we'd have played Winthrop, they'd have come in and beat us.
Oh, I have no doubt.
Oh, and then you got to look.
Winthrop
Then you got to look
plays in
at
that
well,
game on
you
Friday.
scheduled Winthrop and they beat you, and that's supposed to be a game that you're an SEC school. You're a school that last year beat the national championship team twice. You're supposed to beat Winthrop, and you don't. So I think that's kind of the reason why they've got some of these teams scheduled. They're going to struggle early. Let's not lie. I mean, like Jake said, this is a youthful team at best.
Right.
And, you know, Odom said that they're going to rely on the three-point shot just because they don't have an inside presence. Don't believe that for 1 second. Don't believe that for 1 second because these guys, some of them, they're too rusty, too young right now to be just popping threes from everywhere. So
Right. I think Odom, if he had his way, he would have every game be like the SEC championship game against Florida, where it's in the 40s as far as points.
Yeah.
Just a struggle defensively. But, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'm looking at this season pretty realistically. I'd be thrilled about a three-peat.
Oh, yeah. I really don't see an NCAA tournament berth. Granted, we haven't even seen the team play yet because we were at the high school game.
That's true.
So,
but still, I mean, three-peat, no one can say that.
No.
No one
ever.
can take that. No one can take that away
you don't
from
really want to say that. For crying out loud, you don't want to say
three-peat.
It's okay.
It's a
seriously-
championship.
Is seriously losing in the first round of the tournament better than winning the NIT? Can you honestly say that?
I actually would probably say that.
I'm going to have to disagree because having a 24-win season or something like that, in my opinion, is better than losing to somebody like, who would they? I mean, they'd play somebody not very. They'd probably be a 10 seed going in or something, playing a 7. It'd be somebody that they should have beat but lost. They wouldn't win. And I would say winning an NIT for the 3rd straight year would be better than going to the tournament this year and losing in the first round.
Even with the NIT wins, though, if you end up with 24, that would mean you'd have, what, 19 before the tournament started? You'd be in the NCAA tournament. And if this was
no, because that's what happened last year.
If they had 18 after the SEC tournament last year. They only won like 15 regular season games.
Right, so they won 23 games for the season. What?
So, yeah, going through the SEC tournament and winning the NIT.
Right.
And that's, I mean, if this would be the first time, if they hadn't been to the NIT the last 2 years, I say, yeah, you probably want to win the NIT instead of losing in the first round of the tournament. But at this point, the NIT is not good enough. I mean, look at last year. Before the SEC tournament, they were talking about Dave Odom being fired. And then all of a sudden he wins a couple games, and the NIT is, kind of a consolation prize again. But this year, you've got to make it to the NCAA tournament or it's a disappointment.
I think you have to look at our team, at the team. I mean, it's not like Bachman. I mean, if Bachman had come back, if Stephen McDowell hadn't transferred, granted, we didn't really see a lot out of him.
He was garbage, Tom.
But it provides depth. He has experience.
Brandis Raley-Ross is better today than Stephen McDowell was the day he transferred.
Well, regardless,
obviously, a 3-point win over South Carolina State doesn't really prove that.
They did that 2 years ago. Or was it they might not have even done it last year. They won over SC State by 2 points, but it was over Christmas break and nobody realized
Looking at this team, I think that an NIT championship, I mean, that'd be a pretty good season. If you come back with Bachman, then I think an NIT championship would be a disappointment.
I think you can't forget they lost Bachman and Kinsey, 2 NBA players. Like,
right.
You can't go to the NIT, lose 2 NBA players, and then expect to be better the next year.
Right.
It's just not going to happen.
I don't
Kentucky wouldn't expect
I would say doing the same thing you did last year, maybe a couple wins over Florida, or not even Florida, but teams like a win over Kentucky would be great. Going to the NIT, winning 6 games there, going and playing Madison Square Gardens again would be a lot better than losing at some stupid little neutral site where no one's going to go to the game. Like, seriously.
South Carolina would probably get stuck out in, like, Washington or
Boise
something.
or something.
Yeah, they'd be in Boise.
Yeah.
where things go to die. Like, seriously.
I don't know, man. It's just I don't see a whole lot of difference in the way that team performed in the first game and the way the last 3 teams have performed. I don't think it was any worse or any, necessarily any better than the teams that they've done, that you've seen in the last couple of years. I think it's very similar, as a matter of fact.
But even if, just treat the South Carolina State game as an exhibition game, we blew out USC Aiken. That was
USC Aiken is not South Carolina State, though.
See,
that.
but when you start comparing teams like that, like USC Aiken's no South Carolina State.
Think about it, though.
What does that mean?
USC Aiken's what, a Division III school? South Carolina State's a 1AA school, and that's not justifying, winning 2 points to South Carolina State. That's just not any different than what you've seen in the past, couple years. It's either last year or this year, USC beat South Carolina State by 2 points. This is not something new, and it's not something that, you should alarm yourself with the first game of the season and say, oh, this team's not any good.
Well, even saying that, they won the NIT championship. So, I'm just saying, NIT championship is going to be a lot.
I would brag about it to everybody.
Oh, yeah.
If we three-peated, honestly. I'm telling everybody.
I'd fire Dave Odom.
At this point,
if I'm the athletic director, I would fire Dave Odom.
Why?
Why not?
What is South Carolina's basketball history? I mean, Frank McGuire, obviously, but
who cares, man?
I mean,
who cares?
No,
just settling for mediocrity just because you don't have a very good history. That's ridiculous.
Let's go to the NCAA tournament and lose the first game for the next 3 years, but call that more successful than winning back-to-back NIT titles.
Sure, Florida did that for 5 years in a row and then won a national championship.
All right. So 6 years for down the road, if we go to the NCAA tournament.
I think what would put us over the top is if
South Carolina game
Bobby Crimmins came back.
Tom, don't be absurd.
You're fired. Seriously, that was uncalled for. I hate you. Bobby Crimmins.
So what are you going to do when Bobby comes into town?
What am I going to do when Bobby comes to town? I'm going to wish him the best of luck and hope South Carolina whoops Charleston's collective behind. Huh?
You get a boom?
No.
From press row?
I'm going to stand right at the entryway, and as they come out, I'm just going to...
He comes out to give his post-game announcement or whatever.
I'm going to be the guy standing in the back of the room. Oh, you suck!
Crimmins, you're awful.
Yeah, I'm going to be that guy.
I could see it.
No,
in your Jeremy Burgess.
In my Jeremy Burgess jersey. No, you know, wow, I can't believe we just went off on Bobby Crimmins. Bobby Crimmins had his opportunity to come back and coach, and it's over and done with now. Dave Odom's the coach, and I think an NCAA tournament is the only thing that will be successful this year. And the reason why is I don't think guys like Trey Kelly would settle for the NIT anymore.
Okay.
I really don't.
I can see for
I would
Trey's-
honestly, to be 110% honest with you, if they didn't make it to the NCAA and they got the bid of the NIT, I could almost see the university turning it down. I
don't know why. I don't know why they would, but I can see for
look
Trey's
at it.
sake.
Look at it. Last year, you go to the NIT championship for the second year in a row. You've got a guy in Balkman and a guy in Kinsey who are now NBA players. I mean, granted, you didn't know that at the time, but you send 2 cheerleaders, no pep band, and only half the fans that showed up from the first time showed up. So it keeps getting less and less. Do you think the interest level for a third NIT is going to be any higher than it was for the second? I don't think so. That's something that the university. University, no.
A three-peat.
There's no market for that. There's no market.
If Dave comes out in the lobby of Russell House like he's done before and hands out tickets.
There's no market for that. You and I have both seen it. We've been in the Colonial Center when they've had the NIT games that were the opening round games at home.
That's true.
There are 6,000 to 8,000 true Carolina basketball
How many
fans
people are
in
gonna
Columbia.
How many people are gonna travel to wherever they play in the first round? More than 6,000? Not a chance.
But that's an NCAA tournament bid on your resume.
Okay.
I just think next year is going to be the
for
year.
For what? For the next season when you say, no, we went to the tournament last year. We're going to be good this year.
Well,
what does that
can you
mean?
build on more, an NIT championship or an NCAA berth, though?
And I would a championship. A championship's a championship.
That worked real well last year, didn't it?
We just talked about the 2 players they lost.
Yeah.
They got
you can't do anything if 2 guys leave.
Look at the year after they went to the NCAA tournament and got throttled by Memphis in the first round. They lost Rolando Howe and they lost Michael Boynton, who were just as important to that team as Ronaldo Balkman and Torrance Kinsey were to this past
And
team.
how'd they do the next year?
They won the NIT championship, which is such a great accomplishment for you guys. I just don't understand how you can say that.
So they really built on that too, didn't they? The NCAA tournament bid. That was a fantastic boost.
I just think that this year that there has to be realistic expectations. Next year is the year when everything gets amped up.
When the transfers
become eligible.
Right.
When all these freshmen get another year of experience. I think
and you lose your best 2 players on your team. It's gonna be the same situation.
That happens every year.
I think
you just said
in college basketball.
Hold on.
This past year is gonna be more hurtful to the team than it was in previous years. Who's to say it's not the same?
I mean, the loss of Trey is gonna be huge.
No,
I think
the loss of Torrance and Ronaldo is going to be a lot bigger than the loss of Trey.
Than Trey and Brandon.
Yes.
Seriously.
Yes.
You just told me that we have a young team that is going to rely heavily on these 2 players.
The loss of Torrance Kinsey, our leading scorer, and Ronaldo Balkman, our leading everything else, is going to be a lot bigger than Brandon Wallace. And
you can't convince me that Torrance and Ronaldo were more important to last year's team than Trey and Brandon are going to be to this year's team.
I don't know. I don't know I really don't know what's going to be important to this year's team because, 1, I haven't seen them play, and 2, I don't think they're going to be any good. So we'll just see. I hope that they can pull out these games against weaker opponents and then have a little bit of momentum going into the Kansas game. So
I will agree with you that I think this season ends up in another NIT maybe run, but I don't think that is acceptable to the program. I think that's probably where they're headed because of the restrictions they have this year, but I don't think that is a step up by any means.
All right.
And I don't think that's a successful season for the team that you have.
Thanks, guys. Coming next on Capital City Sports, we'll hear from Coach Spurrier on what to expect this weekend when the football team takes on Mid-Tennessee State. We'll also go back to Matt and Tom for more analysis on the game. Don't change that channel. There's much more to come on Capital City Sports.
This is the kind of immaturity and unprofessionalism that was associated with SGTV years ago. And it's not going to happen again. I will take away keys. Okay, this is not funny.
Hey, Drew.
Why are you smiling? This is not funny. This is a waste of student television fees.
We paid for it.
Out of your own money, you paid for this.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, what about the air?
The air?
Yes, the air that costs money. I was away doing a good TV show, and you guys come in here and f*** up my office. If it's not cleaned up by 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to come back and take pictures, and there's going to be hell to pay.
Did you get all that? Every second. Good.
I wasn't mad. Come on, guys. I was pretending to be mad.
See you on VH1, asshole.
Come on, guys. Oh, f*** me.
I think some of our guys can sense that we're maybe a few players here and there away from really competing for the SEC championship. And maybe we need to up our goals next year rather than just win 6. And maybe having our goals a little higher, it may give us a little impetus to win some of these games we're not quite winning. I don't know.
After a heartbreaking loss to Florida, the football team will look to get back on track this weekend. The Gamecocks will host Mid-Tennessee State in the last home game of the season. Here's what Coach Spurrier had to say about the team in that contest.
Pretty good team coming in here, 7-3. Of course, Rick Stockstill was on our staff last year, and he and his coaches have done an excellent job. They play very aggressive defense, got 2 good running backs that have gained a bunch of yards. So they're a very solid team. I think they're about, 1 game away from winning their conference championship. So he's probably going to be coach of the year in that conference, and their team is playing very well. But I do have one announcement for all you people today. Y'all listening, Glenn? All right, here's the best news. Sidney Rice told me he's coming back next year, definitely. He told me, I said, can I tell the media that? He said, yes, sir. So put that on the news. Sidney Rice is coming back to play for the Gamecocks next year, and so is Andy Boyd. I was talking to Andy yesterday, right before dinner, and I said, Andy, you ought to come back next year. He said, Coach, I want to. I said, really? He said, yes, sir. He said, we got a chance here. And I said, well, I believe it too. We got a dang chance here next year. And Andy is by far our best blocking tight end. He had an excellent game blocking last week and when he's in there. And he senses that we have a chance to maybe do something special next year. So sort of proud of that Sidney is coming back. Andy's coming back for his 6th year because of the injury. You know, he got that 6th year. And that was encouraging that we're starting to have some guys around here that say, hey, I want to maybe play here at South Carolina as long as I can.
I really just after the Florida game and stuff more than anything, you know, just sort of, you know, just how close we were and, you know, really this season just, you know, how close, you know, we are as a team is getting to that next step. And, you know, just really thinking about talking with my family and stuff, I just think, you know, I'd like to do it one more year, give it one more shot and, you know, go with it.
Senior last home game and all that kind of stuff, senior day, what does that mean to you?
It means a whole lot, you know, one more chance to go out in front of the home crowd for my last time and just try to perform like I always do.
How would you sum up your career?
Interesting. That's all. I mean, it's been a long road, you know. With the injury, that was probably the biggest thing of my career, and all the position changes. I mean, I'm pretty sure coaches would love to have a lot of players that would sacrifice and do other things like that. But I mean, a lot of people wouldn't do it. But you know, I mean, it might affect me later on in a couple of months. But you know, I did it because I wanted to win.
Coach Spurrier said today that Sidney and Andy Boyd are coming back, and he said for the first time that he believes next year they can play for a championship.
Well, I mean, Sidney says he's coming back, but me personally, I honestly don't think that he's gonna make it back. But I mean, if those guys do, I feel with the youth that our team have, that they will have a chance competing. I mean, we fell short a couple of big games this year. And you know, I feel those guys can come back and make and create havoc in the SEC and nationally. So, but me, I can't see Sidney coming back.
What makes you think that way? We don't.
Huh?
Do you know something we don't?
I don't know nothing. Sidney said he tells me every day he come back, and I told him if he come back, me and him gonna have to go out in the back and fight. But but you know, but you know, I can understand why he would want to come back, because he feel that that he would come back. Like, I guess not being stingy. I mean, he can have goals of his own and go and achieve those goals right now, because everybody know that Sidney's like one of the best receivers in the country. So, I mean, he can easily go right now, like, and basically go before. I know he'll go before me, no doubt. But I can see why he would want to come back, because you know to help the team out, to go out and just prove to everybody that what South Carolina could do. I mean, if Coach Spurrier get him back, I mean, Coach Spurrier, if he get him back, I can see them next year doing some big things.
To break down the game even further, here's the Capital City Sports Talk guys, Matt Moore and Tom Benning.
I'm going to go ahead and say South Carolina wins this one 24-21.
You just stole my pick. No,
I know.
All right.
I'm not even joking,
I think this is really tough. It could be a close game. I'm more inclined to think that it's going to be kind of a release of anger and frustration, and they're just going to beat the crap out of them. But MTSU is really not that bad a team. The past 4 games, granted against not less than stellar competition, they've scored at least 34 points. I mean, you got to give a lot of credit to Coach Stockstill, who, I mean, they're projected to finish 6th in the Sun Belt. They're 6-0, cruising to the title. But I don't know. I see Carolina winning by 21.
I think Middle Tennessee State will have a 3-0 lead, and then I think South Carolina will go on to win 42-24.
Okay.
I think one thing you guys forgot is that Middle Tennessee State is going to be overlooking us, because they're going to be looking past us, because their next game is for the Sun Belt Championship, and then the winner of that goes to the New Orleans Bowl.
Right.
Yes. So that's their only chance to go to a bowl game. It doesn't matter if they're what are they 7-3? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
They still, if they lose their next game, they won't go to a bowl.
So if you're MTSU, do you just mail it in this
yeah,
game?
Absolutely.
Don't
I
even
would not
watch
show
the
anything,
tape.
because it doesn't help. I mean, it would help them in recruiting to play us close or to beat us, but realistically, they know that's not going to happen. So why go all out? Why show everything when you could just be preparing for your next game?
That's a very good point.
My prediction is going to be 42-14.
All right, and let's also think about the one common opponent that the two teams share is Florida Atlantic, who South Carolina defeated quite handily, and Middle Tennessee State beat them 7-6.
That's all for this edition of Capital City Sports on SGTV. Tune in every Thursday at 8 p.m. for the latest and greatest highlights, interviews, and analysis. Until next time, I'm Shannon Schmidt, and you've been watching Capital City Sports. See you next week.